Hello everyone, it's Rebecca from 90 Day Fiance, and one of the most common questions that I get all the time are because I used to be a private investigator, and of course that was part of the first season that I was in. How did I become a private investigator? I get this question a lot. Every day people ask me, and they always talk to me about how they want to be a private investigator and how did I do it. So this video is just going to be kind of quick and explaining how I got into it, why I got into it maybe. Yeah, so that's about it. So a few years ago, I was in my apartment. I was kind of feeling like I needed a change. I've done this before. When my first husband and I got divorced, I had bought a bike. I bought him a motorcycle for it was a gift for some reason, and then that he'd always wanted. It was a sport bike, a Ninja 750, I think it was. But then I got tired of watching him take off and leave every night and, leave me with the kids all the time to go ride his bike. So I took it out to a school parking lot and taught myself how to ride it. And then the next day went and bought my own. Well, I became obsessed with the thing. I just loved the freedom of it. And, but I've always also worked on cars with my dad and things like that. So when I first got divorced from him, I decided I wanted to be a motorcycle mechanic. So I took some online courses, which was completely useless, but it helped, I guess, a little bit. And I one day just decided to go get a job as a motorcycle mechanic. So I did that for 2 years. So it's kind of in my nature to just do things that I want to do. And I'm never afraid of something, something new or something crazy or just whatever I decide that I want to do, I try to do it. So one night I'm sitting in my apartment and I was like, what do I really want to be when I grow up, kind of thing. And I want to say I was already 40 at this time, but I Googled how to become a private investigator. I found out really quickly that the hardest part would be to find an agency that would sponsor my license in the state of Georgia. And again, this video really only applies for Georgia for sure, because I don't know what the statutes are, what the laws are, what the licensing requirements are for anywhere else. So if you're watching this from somewhere else, I hope my information is helpful for you, but make sure you check your local laws and things like that. So in Georgia, you have to take an online 70-hour course, and it has to be accredited by the state. I will try to find the place that I took my license and link it below. I'll have to find my license and maybe, I don't know, it probably won't have the school on there, but anyway. So I took this, the 70-hour course. It really only took about 2 days to do it. It was really super easy. It wasn't that difficult. It just kind of covers what's expected of you as an agent, and kind of what you can do, what you can't do, the difference between you and law enforcement, because of course it's completely different. Very few things intersect when it comes to being a private investigator and any sort of law enforcement career. I, do not pretend that it's even anywhere near doing anything in law enforcement. However, so once I took the 70-hour course, before you can actually get licensed, you have to find an agency that will sponsor you, because I don't remember exactly what the requirements are to sponsor yourself and have your own agency, but they are steep. You have to have a ridiculous amount of money for a bond and insurance. You have to have, I think it's 5 years of law enforcement experience, which I don't have. And there's some other things that I can't recall exactly, but it was just not something that I could do. I'm not going to go work in law enforcement for 5 years just to be a private investigator. So I set out to find an agency that would sponsor my license. I emailed probably 43 different private investigation companies, licensed investigation companies, to discuss with them, hey, this is my story. I'm this age, I've got no experience, um, I've taken the classes, I'm ready to apply for my license, and I just need a company to, to sponsor it that I can work with. Um, Out of 43 companies, I got some just basic replies that will keep your information on file. But for the most part, I didn't really get that much attention about it. I imagine these people get a lot of emails every day. But one company reached out to me. We talked. She was really an interesting lady. It was Melanie, my friend Melanie. And she basically said, okay, so we're going to give you a try and see how you like it. She told me what the pay would be, and that, I would have to basically prove myself before they would agree to do it. So I want to say it was like the next day that I met up with one of their agents, because you have to be with a licensed agent to be able to work, to be able to get the experience that you need or whatever. You're not allowed to just start working on your own. So I met up with one of their agents and did a case the very next day. It was just a surveillance case. And to be honest, I don't even remember it. It was really just basic. It wasn't anything exciting or anything. I was excited. I thought it was a lot of fun, but the case itself wasn't really exciting. So after I did a few of those, they agreed to go ahead and do my license. So at that point, you have to submit a license application along with your 70-hour course certificate that they give you to the Secretary of State. They will review everything. You have to get fingerprinted. You have to have a background check done. There's several fees involved. The course that I took, I want to say, was $350. And then there was a fee for the background investigation. There was a fee to be fingerprinted, which you just go to like a local UPS store and they actually have the setup there, which I thought was kind of interesting. Altogether, it was around $500 or $600 total to get the license, going. And then you have to work as an apprentice for so long before you are, a full-fledged agent, whatever. The whole process was, it took probably about 6 months completely from the time that I decided that I wanted to do it until I was working on my own. But it was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. I'll have to make a video on some of the crazier cases that I did. And, I've been shot at a couple of times. I got stuck under someone's car one time, putting a GPS tracker on them. Yeah, so I had some pretty crazy experiences. Of course, I've been caught doing surveillance a few times. I once got locked in a car lot because I was doing surveillance and I had gotten permission to do it and was sitting in the back of the lot because I needed to be able to watch the back of this apartment complex. And the guy that gave me permission left and forgot to tell the guy that was going to be locking up for the night. So my car got locked in the car lot and I had to call 911. And there was no phone number on the door for me to call the owner or anything like that. So it took a while for the police to track down the owner to be able to let me out. So that was an interesting evening. But yeah, so I'll have to make a video on some of the crazier things that I did. But it was really fun. I think a lot of the people that want to do, PI work have possibly have some unrealistic expectations of what you're doing. The majority of what you're doing is questioning your life choices because you've been sitting in your car for 12 hours and you can't even get out to go to the bathroom, and you're eating snacks for 2 days straight because you don't have time to eat a full meal. Or you are doing surveillance on someone and you've been following them for 2 hours and then you lose them. That's always fun. So the majority of PI work is sitting in your car, waiting for something exciting to happen, and it doesn't. But every once in a while, you get a case where You catch them completely off guard. You catch them red-handed. You get exactly what you want. You know, you get great pictures of it. You turn in your report, and it's very fun. It's an adrenaline rush. My favorite part of it really is going at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and hiding a GPS tracker under someone's car. Your heart is right here, your adrenaline is pumping, you're terrified you're going to get busted. And for those that will indefinitely ask me if that's legal, it is absolutely legal to do that. The only caveat is I'm not allowed to go on private property to do it. So the car would have to be parked in the street or, you know, at someone's work, someone's school, you know, whatever. As long as it's not private property, I'm allowed to put a tracker on your car. Until some senator or congressman gets busted with a tracker on his car and changes that law, it will remain legal to do that, just as an FYI. And also, I'm sure I'll get this question, where can you buy the GPS trackers? Absolutely try Amazon. There are all kinds of options. You know, there's really cheap ones, some really good ones for about $100, and usually it's just this little black box, and the tracker itself looks like what am I trying to think of? It almost looks like this. It's just a small little thing, and it's got lights on it, and it connects to an app on your phone or on your computer or something like that, and then it gets housed in a bigger case that can handle being stuck on a car. And it usually has one big magnet on it, and you just stick it to the frame of a car, keeping it away from the fuel tank. You generally want to put it either in the front of the car or the back of the car on the top of the frame where it can't be seen. I've lost a few trackers from people who, you know, had no idea that it was on there, and they went to get their oil changed, and somebody was like, hey, did you know this was on their car? So I've picked up a couple of them at mechanic shops and things like that. But yeah, and the only downside to it is the cheaper ones, you have to charge more often. And to charge it, you have to sneak onto their property or, you know, onto where the car is. Pull it off of remember where the tracker is, pull it off their car, get in your car, sit and charge it for 2 or 3 hours, and then sneak back over to where the car is and put it back on the car. So every single time you have to do that, it's you're taking a risk of getting caught. So you definitely want to invest in one that has a longer battery life. Like there's some of them that will only last for, I don't know, a day or two. Unless this is someone that you have direct access to, like a spouse or, you know, boyfriend or something like that, girlfriend. I recommend getting one that stays, that has a longer battery life for like a week. Those are the ones that we had. So that way you only have to charge it once a week. But yeah, so if you have any other questions, feel free to comment below. And I'm sure I've forgotten some things, but I hope this helps answer some of your questions. Thank you.